I'm here at Solaris.com, a solar company, and I'm talking to Goran Lundgren. Goran Lundgren, what a wonderful name. Yeah, chairman of the board. And you used to work at an energy company in Sweden, eh?
Yes, I used to work for Vattenfall for many, many years.
Yeah, the owner of Nuon.
Exactly.
Yes. And you basically in 2008 or 9, you already went to electric driving to do something with Volvo. How did that come about?
I think it was the vision of the company chief executive of Vattenfall at the time that we needed to find new applications of electricity, the use of electricity, as well as promoting the sustainability of electricity efficiency in the use. Yeah. And at the time and still, transportation sector is of course one major sector for improving environmental performance, reduce emissions, as well as the overall efficiency, and go electric.
Yeah. So you had a nice vision. Okay, we need more demand because electricity, there's going to be a lot of savings in the future with lighting, and we need more market. So electric cars are fantastic. And 2008, 2009, that was not obvious. What I like to know is, I mean, you had a startup. You had a startup together with Volvo, yes. And you made not a full battery-operated vehicle, but a hybrid. How did that decision to make such a complicated car, how did that come about?
Well, it is, as you say, a complicated car. It was a complicated decision and a complicated discussion. But at the end of the day, given the capacity of batteries at the time, there was a feeling, and I would emphasize, I think that is a feeling that the market was not ready to go all electric in a big scale, but make the market used to going electric. After all, more than 85% of all the drives are for less than 50 kilometers, and then you can go home and charge again. And we had at the time already ongoing projects with BMW in Berlin, for instance, with all electric versions of the Mini. Yeah. And they showed that people would not charge their car every day. They could go for a week without charging because they were generally driving much shorter distances than the general perception is. Yeah.
But your startup made a V60, which has only been sold in Holland mostly, and Norway a little bit, but I mean,
and in Sweden,
a little bit, but most of them went to Holland. And that V60 had a 250 horsepower diesel and a I think 100 horsepower electric.
70, I think, but nevertheless, yes.
Yeah. And it was a very complicated machine. And you could have also taken the decision, no, we're going fully battery operated. We're going to make a nice car, you know, like a competitor of Tesla. Yes. And how did you decide to go hybrid? Do you remember who the fractions were, what people were thinking? Or is it the scientists who decided? Or is it...
Actually, that discussion, I think, took place before I got personally deeply involved. But I think the rationale, if you wish, was that we need to take several steps into the market, and going all electric in one step would be more than the market would be ready for at the time. Other people thought otherwise, like Tesla, for sure. Most car manufacturers today go both plug-in hybrids or hybrids as well as pure electric. Yeah,
actually, Tesla is the only one, except for Nissan Leaf, who went full electric.
Well, as their strategy, yes, but if you go to Volkswagen, any of the others now do both.
The existing business is very careful, step by step. The market is not ready, and you need an outsider.
But yes.
But you were an outsider. You were an energy company. You go like, you could have said, hey, come on, guys, let's make 2 cars, one fully battery operated and one hybrid.
As a matter of fact, Volvo did make one C30 as a pure electric as well, very much to develop technology, to learn about it, and so on. But I think you have to recognize also that the automotive industry today, 2015, has come a very long way away from the diesel and petrol-fired engines that were the
Really? That's still 99% of all the cars which are sold are diesel and...
That is true, but if at the time, it's not only a few years ago that a top manager of Volkswagen said there will never be an electric car or a battery in the Volkswagen family. You see where they're heading now.
That's true. Yeah. Yeah, so it's interesting. You are you were coming from a very conservative energy company, which because you were state-owned, I think, state-owned at that time. Yeah, it still is. And you became an innovative source for the automobile industry, and
that's very surprising, isn't it?
Well, I think Vattenfall has always been very, very, very dynamic and entrepreneurial, and they bought Nuon here in Holland. That's really amazing that a state-owned energy company has been so innovative and so dynamic.
Yeah, and another area which was very innovative as well was solar energy, where Vattenfall already in the early 90s decided that we need to find out if solar energy long-term has such a potential that it can change the world for energy companies.
Yeah, you had already the vision of distributed energy and a smart grid, and that was also already 10 years old.
That is about 10 years ago that started. With the insight, if you wish, that in the future there will not be only few big producers and many small consumers, but there will also be small producers, small prosumers, as it is called today.
So we'll talk about that in a second. I just wanted to have the first interview about the car, and then the second thing is about solar. How do you see the car industry? You've been there with 10 years of change in the car industry, slowly. 1% of the sales is now maybe electric. How do you think this will develop in the next 10 years?
Well, I think it will be a dramatic change in the mix in sales between electric and conventional engines. And the plug-in hybrids are the bridges between the two, because there is a market segment that sort of cannot let go totally. So that is the bridge between the two sectors.
And from your perspective, where you are now, how fast do you think this change will go?
But I think in probably 15 years' time, more than 25, maybe 35, 40% of all new cars will be electric.
15 years is a long time.
It's a long time, but it will take time, and that's of all the new sales. It may be going quicker, but before you have changed the whole fleet.
That will take a long time. No. I'm talking about new sales.
Now talking about new sales as well.
Yeah. And if you look at the challenges for the grid, suppose that in Holland we have 1 million cars on the grid who are being charged during the day. Is that going to be a big engineering challenge, or is that something which easily can be done?
I think it can be done relatively easily from an engineer or a capacity point of view. After all, the amount of electricity needed for those cars is relatively small. We're probably talking about 5 to 6% of the total production. So from that point of view, the system can handle it, but it opens very interesting new opportunities, because when you then can manage from a system point of view when and how all of those electric cars are being charged.
And just turn on the charging poles on and off whenever you need them.
And you can in fact use the battery capacity in the cars in the other way to stabilize the grid, to use as an extra power source for some time. So
made for each other.
So I mean, you plug in your car 7 o'clock at night when you get home, and you just say, I want it fully charged by 7 o'clock tomorrow morning. What you do in the meantime, I don't care.
Yeah. Get me the lowest price. Yeah.
Precisely.
Interesting. In the next interview, I'll be talking about Vattenfall and the solar, and how we are now at solaris.com, and see what's happening to the solar energy.